Alright guys, I'm back. Today's subject, how much did it cost for the case swap, this Integra? It's a 94 Integra LS. Some call it DC4. They're all the same to me, DC4, DC2. Chassis is the same. So anyways, how much did it cost? So let's first start off with JDM K24A RBB head. Bought it for $650 at JDM Motors. I believe that's what they're called, in San Leandro, California. This was last year we bought it. I've seen them go up now in prices. 1320 has them for, I believe, $750 or $749, something like that. So it's $100 more. But you know what? I would gladly buy it from them because they're so close to me rather than driving an hour away. So we'll call this $650 since that's what I paid for it. As far as everything else on the swap, we bought a 2002 RSX Type S with a blown engine. They threw a rod. If you want to know the history on it, it looks like something hit the oil pan, lost the oil, and it was in the freeway, so the driver probably didn't notice it until it was too late. So anyways, it threw a rod, so we bought it for $1,500. Took everything swap related to it, even the manifold. That's why you're looking at this K24 with a Type S manifold. 6-speed Type S transmission with the shift linkage. The whole engine harness, K20 Type S ECU. I think they're what, PRB or something like that. I even took this guy, which is the water pump housing, and PCV system Shimadiga. Even grabbed the Type S alternator. And what else did we grab from that Type S? I think that was it. The throttle body was this Type S. This battery cable that went all the way to the battery, to the starter and alternator. Grabbed one of them from the Type S. The other one I believe is from a 2000 Civic Si that I had. So that's that. Next one on the list, max speeding rods, motor mounts. I paid one. Let me see. I'm looking at my notes. I'm sorry. I paid $160 for that on eBay, or my son bought it. $160 from eBay. It's a half sport lookalike. It works just as great. I haven't had any problems with it. Aside from, we did have one issue for it. I don't know if you can see it. This bolt right here, nut and bolt, this is actually threaded. Let me see if I can put this. This thing's actually threaded, but the threads just, either it was boogered up or just wasn't lining up. So what I did was I just drilled the threads off, put a nut and bolt through it. So there's a bolt with a nut at the edge. Problem solved. So that took care of the mounts. ECU came from the 2002 RSX Type S. I sent it, we sent it to K-Pro. I got, my friend charged me $650. I had a buddy in Reno that deals with K-Pro stuff or Honda stuff. So he charged me $650 with my old ECU. So, and thanks to him, he actually flashed it with a base map. That's pretty good. I didn't even need to dyno this thing. So next, conversion harness, which is this guy. This dude right here goes along inside and it basically plugs into the body harness for the ECU side. So then that way your gauges everything, it communicates. Conversion harness is $130 from eBay, and it's a no-name. It's a no-name brand conversion harness, basically Chinese conversion harness. Half-size radiator, $75 from eBay. I'd like to say it's a DNR product, but I can't remember now. It came in a white box, but this thing cost me $75. Axles, we're using O'Reilly's import direct axles. You can't really see it, but it's down there. It was about $80 each, so call it 180, with tax, because it was 80 something dollars each. So let's call it 90 with tax, so times 2, left and right. $180. Some say, now don't quote me on this, that it works 100%. Some say they don't work, they pop out. We haven't had it pop out yet. I did have this side. My son broke this side, axle. I don't know if it's still here. He broke it. It was actually Hard Park's event in Sacramento Raceway. The prep was decent, and he's using Mickey T's Street R's. So it broke, but it's lifetime warranty, so it's got a new one. Yeah, some say they pop out. We haven't, he's been driving on this. I mean, he's made so many passes, drove it to school and back when he was going to school. Now it's, social distancing, so he's going to school at home. But he drives this car everywhere, and he hasn't had any issue with it popping out. I did notice online, I didn't experience it this myself, but they say this bolts doesn't quite line up sometimes, or doesn't fit right, and the engine, it's gonna tilt down and this way a little bit, which will cause this one to be too short and pop out. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I read. But so far, O'Reilly import direct axles works fine. I got it for 2002 RSX base model. That's the key, because you can't use Type S because he's got a 36 or 32 millimeter nut on the hub. So I don't know the actual size of the splines, but the base model fits. Type S won't, because the Type S is 36 millimeter nut, so the splines is bigger. I'm assuming if you use a JDM Type R 5 lugs, you're gonna need a Type S. I've never tried it, so don't quote me. So next up, some of the eBay bootleg parts that we got for this car. Some needed, some not needed. So you're gonna need this part right here. This is a coolant. It's not really a plug, because there's a hose that connects to it that goes down to the water pump. You need that. That is, I believe, let me see, I'm looking at my notes, I'm sorry. $65. So you need this if you're using a Type S intake manifold, because K24 manifolds go straight across like that. So this gets plugged up by the K24. But since I'm using a Type S manifold, the coolant hole here is exposed. So you need this if you're gonna go Type S manifold. Thermostat housing neck. You don't really need this. I paid $85 for this. The plastic one from a Type S works just fine, but we broke it when we took it out. We put a crack on it. So I went ahead and bought this. This is the fan switch that's not needed if you're going K-Pro. At the time, I wasn't sure if I need it or not, so I went ahead and wired it up and plugged it in. But since we're using K-Pro, we don't need the fan switch, because K-Pro controls the fan. So there's that. And that was, I believe I said $85. And then this guy, which is bootleg K-Tune Carcept, I think. Alternator relocator kit. It comes with this and the bottom adapter so the alternator bolts down there. You don't really need it, but if you don't use this, your alternator will be up here. Then you're gonna need a K-tuned power steering delete or whatever pulley. So we went ahead and just got this. I believe that one is. All right, so this piece right here is eBay. We paid $120 for it. There's that. So that took care of that. It actually came with the alternator pulley also. Now, I believe that's it as far as, and this guy, K-Tune. No, this one you don't need, but it makes the swap looks a lot cleaner. This guy right here, it's a K-Tune. I think they call it upper radiator neck adapter. Um, that one's an actual K-tuned product, and let me try to find it. I think I paid like 120 for it. I have the list here. It's just hard for me to read and talk and look at the phone. So at the end of this video, I will post up that list that I have. So you don't need this. The one that comes with the K24 will work. We did this so that way we can eliminate the water heater, and it looks a lot cleaner. You know, honestly, it just looks better. Intake system. We got this on a trade from the Type S. I traded the guy the rear bumper and taillights for this. So I'm gonna call this free because we paid $1,500 for that Type S. By the way, that Type S that we got, we paid $1,500. Grab all the swap parts we need, parted it out, and I basically got $900 back from parting it out. So technically we only paid $600 for the Type S parts. You figure out what you want to do from there. I think it was cheaper that way than to, because I think the Type S transmission alone is $1,000 or roughly around there. So I figured that car was available to me at the time, so I went ahead and bought it. Next up, fuel system. So this is a K motor, which is, you guessed it, a K-tuned bootleg part. Originally, this thing, the way they wanted it set up on instruction was the hose comes here and then goes like this, and then your regulator somewhere here, or I think they wanted you to bolt the regulator somewhere here. So one of those two places, and then return line, and then one line going to the middle. I kind of didn't like it the way it was laid out, so I didn't buy any extra parts. I just cut the hoses to fit. So I went ahead and went this way, the old-fashioned way, which is, you know, basically instead of a returnless rail, it's got a return rail system. So it goes there, your fuel rail gauge, return line goes to the regulator, which is bolted down there, and then goes to the return line to the car. That one we paid, all right, I just had to look it up how much we paid for it. So that one we paid a whopping $200 for, compared to K-Tune, which is $400, I believe. So save us some money there. More money, more parts, right? And then Mishimoto swap radiator hoses. That one I believe we also paid $200 for. It's all written down. I'm just gonna go off the top of my head, but I believe we paid $200 for this Mishimoto swap radiator hose, which basically, you know, if you follow the hose, it's actually good. Like it's routed the way you want it. They even drew lines, so if you must have this guy and you didn't have none of these, you can actually cut this and put, you know, a pipe with that guy bolted on the pipe. So there's that. Shifter linkage. Shifter linkage is shifter cables from the Type S. Shifter. So first let's go through with this. If you watch my video on when we were doing the swap, this is not the original shifter we put in, but for the sake of this video, since this is what's on there, we're gonna go with this shifter. I forgot my pointer outside, I'm sorry. So the shifter, it's an eBay K-tuned lookalike. He paid $99 for it from eBay, and then he put K-tuned. Now the rest of the stuff I'm mentioning you don't need. You really just need the shifter. So which is $99 for the shifter, and the base plate is $30. So that $130 for the shifter. Accessories he added was a 5th gear lockout. So basically, you know how it let you go like here to go into 5th and 6th. If you lock it, it won't let you go there. As weird as it seems, my son said it's actually preventing him from doing a 1-2-1 the way he's shifting it. So, and it's supposed to hit it, but since this is not an actual K2 shifter, it doesn't quite reach. But ideally, once you to go to 4th gear, it hits it and it comes off. So anyways, there's that. I believe he I don't even know how much he paid for that. You can look it up on K-Tune. That's an actual K-Tune parts. He got the shift stopper, which according to my son, the shift stopper prevents you from going too far down when you're shifting, so you don't stretch the cables. Do you need it? If you're just driving normally, nah, probably not, because then you know. But he does takes this to the drag strip. He's been taking it quite a lot lately, being that we're having issues with the turbo car. I think it's fixed now though, but we were having issues with it. So again, he bought this from his own money. So I don't really know what he paid for it. I'm just letting you know, guys, know that's he added that to the shifter. So when you buy this from eBay, don't expect a 5th gear lockout or shift stopper. It doesn't come with it. So that's so basically he spent $130 with this. The story why we changed shifter. The first one was a K-tuned no cut shifter. We liked it because it stuck. Here, let me insert a picture. All right, so that's what it looked like. The problem with this is it's too short of a throw. So side to side and up and down, it's too short. So he's not so confident with it that, you know, he's worried that he's gonna money shift. And also the more, you know, the more we use it, drag racing or even spirited driving, it tends to fall apart. Things were getting looser and looser, you know, like the nuts keeps loosening, the bushings, you know, the play keeps getting more and more. So we actually canned it. I still have it. I don't know what we're gonna do with it. We still have it. It's still good. It's just he wasn't so confident. So to give you an idea, stock quarter mile times with the K-Tune no cut shifter, you know, him shifting and, you know, basically as he said, he just doesn't have that much confidence in it. I believe his best time was a 13.4 or 13.3. Just by switching to this shifter and him being able to bang gears, he's gotten to 12.8. I think his quickest best time so far is a 12.75, but when he did the 12.75, that was, you know, no interior. You know, he took the seats out, open headers, full trim, full interior, full exhaust. It's a high 12.8, so it's like a 12.88, I believe. If I can dig up the time slip, I'll dig it up. But just the shifter alone got him that much quicker. I'm guessing because, you know, he has confidence. He's able to bang gears versus the K-Tune. He's clutching it, letting go of the gas, making sure it goes in the right gear, then taking out, you know, going again. So let's go back outside. So there you have it, folks. That's what it costs to do a K-Tune, or not K-Tune, a K-swap. I believe roughly he's about a little over $4,500 into this swap with the engine. I'm sure there's some miscellaneous stuff that I didn't count, like spark plugs, this rubber hose, you know. So that's what I'm saying. I believe when we set out to do this, we sold his Type R swap to one of our friends. There's a video of it if you go back far enough. We sold it $4,500 installed, and that's all the money that went into this. So we wanted to see if we can do it for that price. So, and I believe I didn't add any more money to it, so I'm calling it that we spent $4,500 to this swap. But let's just say between $4,500 to $500, because you might not find the best deals on eBay sometimes. And miscellaneous stuff, like I said, like this hose, zip ties, you know. And he's getting this fixed better. He had a bracket, but he also bought an intake that he puts on the track that goes basically like that and outside. That's why you see he cut a hole in his high beam. You know, he's trying that on, which is a velocity stack. But yeah. The main thing that really saved us was finding that Type S that had a blown engine, because even the throttle body, you know, we just used the Type S. That's why you can see it went the Type S route, which is wrapped around it inside like that. I've read people using EK harness, throttle cable that goes straight like that. But we had the Type S, so we used that. So I would say for roughly about 4,500. Now, if you minus the $900 that we sold this, that we got for the Type S, then we're below $4,000 in this swap. Considering that we sold, this thing had a JDM Type R on it, and he was able to sell it with labor and put this in. I think it's a much better deal. Time wise, the best that JDM Type R did, I believe, was 13.8. The best this thing did without the Mickey Thompson ETRs was 13.9, I believe. 13.9 or 30, maybe even 13.8. So it's equal, but this thing is so much more drivable on the street. He's shifting at 7,800 at the track. He's not pushing the engine to 9,000 RPM, so less wear and tear. Being that it's got more low end than the B18 and it's 6-speed, he's actually, when he's driving around, he's not revving high just to keep up with traffic. He's just driving it normal and it's keeping up with traffic. So yeah. I'll let you guys decide whether it's case the way or save the B series. For me, if you ask me personally, especially if you're going to start from scratch, I'd probably go ahead and do a case swap on it, just because it's cheaper than a B series. At this point, Type R swaps are still going for 3,800, and then you still got some stuff to do to it. While this, I'll put up the price that I have. It's $4,500, and that's everything you need. So, but yeah, here's the picture of the price list, and I'll see you guys next time. Sorry, it's a long video.